welcome. I'm Tasha, and tonight we are continuing our tarot lessons from Justice, where we left off. So we're moving into the Hangman, and I'm hoping to get us to the Tower tonight. I really want to keep this cluster of cards together and go through that dark kind of night of the soul that these cards take us to. If you like to join along, please bring out a journal or a book or a pen, and please pull out your deck. Tonight, like always, I'm going to be using the Rider Waite deck as my primary reference. And I also have a couple of other decks as well, as kind of a different perspective from different artists and authors. I like to do that because it kind of shows you how you can really read any deck, in my opinion, once you kind of get down those basics of tarot and you find your confidence. So let's go on a dark and spooky journey into our souls. So the Hanged Man, just to make sure that's nice and clear for you. What do you feel when you see this card? What comes to mind when the Hanged Man presents himself? I see it as kind of a standstill. He's on the tree here and he is not looking for help from anybody. He's just kind of stuck there. He doesn't look like he's in pain. Like you can see in his face, he's quite calm. He's got a halo around his head, so he's not in a bad place here, but he's kind of stuck, right? He's stuck. You have to think about, what am I trying to say? I guess you don't have to. Let's rewind. That sounds dickish. You don't have to do anything, okay? First of all, ever. What you could do is apply these cards to stories or people in your life, things that you're familiar with, okay? It'll help you kind of remember. So the point I'm trying to get to, because you know me, I take the roundabout way, but we get there, right? Is that I like to think of this as Odin hanging on the world tree, sacrificing for 9 days to gain the knowledge of the runes and so much more. Right? So that I see this card, I go Odin, I go that story, okay, well, maybe someone is getting this card because they've made some really major sacrifices, and maybe those sacrifices are going to pay off for them. Perhaps, depending on cards around it, they're about to enter a time in their life where they're going to have to start making sacrifices. Maybe they've been a little bit selfish or a little too self-indulgent. The halo around his head here, that can represent prophecy, so clairvoyance, things coming to the mind, answers. So the Hangman in a reading can also indicate spiritual interaction or the influence of your spiritual side in your life. You'll notice this next section of the cards has the theme of spirituality in one way or another, and it kind of starts, in my opinion, with the Hangman and just kind of that connection. You're in between worlds in a sense. He's hanging there. So prophecy, getting messages, the halo, that spiritual interference. And if you read reversals, if you got it this way, you could consider that maybe this person's doing it for bad. They're doing negative magic, or there's maybe someone sending some negative vibes your way. Whereas if it's upright, it could be good vibes. Someone could be sending you good influences your way. So there's different ways that you can interpret this card, and it's really what you think, what you believe at the end of the day. I like it a lot as independence and just being kind of on your own, making some sacrifices, and having those sacrifices eventually pay off. When I see this in someone's reading, to me, it really is, maybe they've been really working, really trying, and finally they're going to have some reprieve, or they're going to have some materialization of all the work that they've been doing. So, Hangman, not as scary as you may think, or as people may think. Independence. Could be to a degree that it can also be those people who are so independent that they don't ask for help when they need to. So it could be showing a shadow side of someone where maybe they need to start being more dependent and ask for help. It's okay to ask for help, and the Hangman could be an indication of that. So let's take a look at a couple other decks to just see how other people interpret these cards. So this one is from the Pagan Tarot. Let me just get them here. The Hangman. This deck, at least this card anyway, in the Pagan Tarot, does not really remind me at all of the Rider Waite, which I think is kind of cool. But you still kind of get the idea of, okay, there's a sacrifice maybe being made. Maybe this lady's going into initiation and she's scared, but she's worked really, really hard, and she's finally ready to make a big decision or commitment or join a circle. And there could be the sacrifice and reward that's coming from her. So that's the Pagan Tarot. And this one is the Ghost Tarot, which I think I'm going to do another flip through of, because I've judged this tarot unfairly. Upon kind of playing with it tonight, I was like, I love a lot of these cards. So I don't know if I was just in a bitchy mood or what when I did that video, but I think I'm going to redo it because I have different opinions. But anyway, we have a hanged man kind of hanging outside a window. I feel like those are bats in the background, which makes it even cooler. So very, that, you know, pretty cut and dry, right? There's no questioning what that is, the Hangman. And then this one is the As Above deck by Barbara Moore. That is the companion to the So Below. And it's called The Circle, which again, I think those sacrifices for spiritual enlightenment. This deck and the Pagan Tarot are very in line with their spiritual beliefs, so they're quite similar. I picked these at random, so I think it's funny that I picked two very kind of Wicca orientated decks. But here is the Circle. So you're making sacrifices, you're getting in the circle, you're sacrificing your energy and everything that you have to build up for spiritual enlightenment. That's kind of what the thought I get from that card. Okay, let's see what the Ghost Tarot has to say about the Hangman. Okay, just find it here. Okay, perception. So spiritual perception maybe. The moment before transformation requires that the certainties of the past be replaced by new images. The day goes into night and night to day. Changing your own point of view is a painful but necessary process. So kind of in line with what we were talking about. Pretty fun, pretty cool. So that's kind of a little quick summary of the Hangman. Let's move into everybody's favorite card to get in a reading, especially when it's their first tarot reading and the whole wide world, and they've been super nervous and all their friends just kind of convince them to do it. Death. Now, the tarot has a sense of humor, and you will find if you do readings for people, if you have someone who's particularly nervous, Death, the Tower, these cards will likely make an appearance. I say that with so much confidence and certainty because it happens so much. People, I honestly, I tell people the tarot, it has a sense of humor. It senses when you're scared. So this card pops up a lot, but it also pops up a lot because it's about change, a new beginning, right? The sun is rising, removal of the old. It can also indicate a disaster coming, which with everything going on in the world, not shocking, but that's another thing it can indicate. We have the skeleton, we have Death here riding on the pale horse of Death. So the pale horse named Death, that's actually a really good metal band. But here's Death on the pale horse riding in. Death is getting the bishop, he's getting all these people, he's getting everybody, the people in the ships. Nobody is safe from death. And when it shows up in a tarot reading, it means that things are going to change. It's uncontrollable sometimes. It's just, you've got to go with the flow and accept it and accept the change. People can change. So if we're doing a relationship reading and you're taking a risk on someone who's made a mistake in the past, well, Death might be a really good card to get for that person because it's a big change. They're making a big change. This isn't like little, like, I'm mixing it up with my underwear today and going super racy. This is like big stuff. We're talking the big stuff here in this section of the tarot. When it comes to death readings, it is of my personal belief not to do readings predicting death or the death of the querent's loved one, because I don't think it's fair to plant seeds. I am not a doctor. I am a tarot reader. It's not my place to tell you about your medical needs or your problems, or to look into someone else's medical needs or problems. I just stay away from all of that. I used to work with a woman who went to a reader who said that their father was going to die within a year, and her mother and her spent a whole year with extreme anxiety. Every time he left the house, if he was late, anything, they went into panic mode. And eventually that did subside, but that tarot reader in that moment literally shifted their whole mental thought process when it came to their husband and father by saying that he was going to die within a year. He is still with us today, as far as I know. So they were wrong, and they caused a lot of unnecessary panic. Be very cautious with approaching the death topic with your clients. It's totally up to you if you want to breach it. I do think there are cards in combination with this card that can indicate a death. If I'm seeing a 10 of Swords in the death card, and then maybe I'm seeing Judgment, just different, a theme happening, I might think in my mind, ooh, maybe someone is going to pass on, but I don't share that information because I could be wrong. At the end of the day, I'm just someone interpreting symbols and colors and numbers and just general feelings that I get. It's not my place. You do you, but that's just my opinion on it. I think it's important to address it when talking about this card. It's incredible the power you wield as a tarot reader. Very powerful, which is always good. It's good, but just be aware of it. Be aware of your power. The rose. So we have the 5 petaled rose here. So that's the rose of Mars. So 5 and Mars, the number, and planet of victory, of vitality, life force, and strength. So that's a little bit strange hanging out on the death card. But it's because with death and change comes rebirth and that chance to kind of shine again. With big changes in your life, you can find a way to shine. You challenge yourself. Challenges create change, and death is a challenger, but it brings change. So that Mars, that strength, that kind of power, and death obviously is a very powerful thing. I forgot what I was going to say. Excuse me. I just kind of went, my brain went, I don't know. So power with that Mars stuff. Oh, the river. That's what I wanted to talk about. So this is the river in the background, and we have some ships sailing on the river. And what do we know about rivers? Rivers lead to the ocean. Water gets evaporated, it comes back down as rain, so on and so on. Science with Tasha. It's a scary idea. Everything is reborn, everything changes, everything shifts. So that's what the death card is. It's a big shift and a big change. I feel like I'm really rambly tonight, but you never know what you're going to get over here. So we're all in it together. Okay. So the Pagan Tarot, we have death. Definitely some kind of initiation. They're about to transform. We've got that butterfly there. Transformation. You've probably seen the post floating around Instagram and those like kind of annoying self help kind of like quotes that are like, oh, you know, butterflies are caterpillars that turn into goo and blah blah blah, and they go through this big crazy transformation before they turn into butterflies. And that is kind of true, I guess, because it is that tough change, that painful transformation that's happening with the butterfly happenings of death. It's painful. Change is painful. So that's kind of my vibe that I get from that one. And then we have the Ghost Tarot, and I love that. Perfect death card. The Grim Reaper. I think that says it all, doesn't it? Someone had commented on my Ghost Tarot review that this deck would be awesome under a black light, and I haven't gotten that out of my head. I think it would be so cool. I really like that card. I don't know what my problem was. And the As Above, Yule, rebirth. The sun's coming back. The sun's died. Longest night of the year. And then it starts to get, the days get longer. So a rebirth. Like that. Okay. Next. Temperance. Kind of calm. We've got a nice angel here. Archangel Saint Michael. He's hanging out with his 2 cups that you see there. So 1 cup means the unknown, and then the other cup means the known. So you're fusing the unknown, what you don't know, what you can't see, what you can't predict, with what you know. So you're thinking, it's thought processes, it's troubleshooting, it's kind of making a plan. We have that same rising sun. So maybe we're just over the hills on the other side of that river where death is conquering. We've got Saint Michael kind of over here, changing and creating. We can think about 2 opposites kind of coming together and making it work with this card. So we can kind of compare it to tempering steel. You think about how when they temper steel, they're heating that steel up to incredibly high temperatures, and then they're plunging it in cold water, and they're doing this back and forth, and that creates this strength in the steel. And you're fusing 2 different elements together to have success. So you apply that to someone's just regular life. Maybe this is an opposites attract situation. They could be unsure of someone because they're very different from their usual type, or they're a little bit of a risk, or could be there's, you know, not of the norm. They're very different, and they could fuse that relationship together. It could be very successful. It could be a partnership of 2 people who are very different ideas, but when they come together, it's successful. It's a hit. About patience. It's about taking your time. This is the long road. This is the long haul. Temperance is not a fast card. If someone wants instant results, this isn't the card you want. Things are going to be slow. You're going to get strength. You're going to get balance. You're going to get what you want. but it's going to be a slow go, and you have to be patient. It's a very quiet kind of card. Think about if you were standing in this card right now. Like, I think it would be quiet. I would hear the water. I could feel the wind a little bit. I think it would just be nature sounds, just calm and cooling and relaxing. It's just it's slow, patient, relax. Michael has 1 foot on the earth and 1 foot in the water. And that is the fusion again of emotions and the soul and the physical body. So we're finding balance between our body and our soul, which is a common thread through the tarot, but it makes sense. Most people who are getting tarot readings are spiritual in some way, or at least curious. They're looking for a little bit of magic, maybe to help validate their own connection with their spirit or soul. We have the square here on Michael's chest with the triangle, and that's the symbol of spirit. The triangle and the square is flesh. So spirit embodied in flesh, spirit becoming flesh, taking that spirit into yourself. Maybe you have to be patient and work on your spirituality and not expect instant results or instant gratification. It could be just taking time and doing some self introspection, some self work. Healing is, I always see that as healing on his head. I don't know. Something I need to probably learn would be what that's all about. I'm thinking it might be maybe sun related, but I need to look it up. If you know, please tell me. I would love to know. It's a long but worthwhile road with Temperance. It's a good card, I think, for business and work, because I think it can indicate a good partnership or someone, a good opportunity coming your way, like something that you maybe have been waiting for a long time. I keep moving these cards around like Blair Witch, I guess, in here. Like, whoa, sorry. Take your gravel, kids. It's a bumpy ride. So there is Temperance, balance. Think about the steel. So when you see this and if you get stuck, just think about swords. Think about that show on Forged in Fire or Game of Thrones or whatever, and then you'll be like, oh yeah, Tasha was talking about steel and hot and cold and how opposites attract, and you'll be fine. And remember, when you're reading tarot cards for people, 99% of the time, you know more about the cards than the person in front of you, no matter what stage you're at in your journey, because at least you started learning and studying. So you're always going to have the upper hand in the reading. So even if you go for it with your gut, you're probably not going to disappoint anybody. Well, let's take a look at some Temperance cards from the other decks. This is from the Pagan Tarot. So we got a badass boss bitch here at her work, typing away on her very dated, check out this computer, guys. Excuse me. And I think behind her, maybe that's a printer, could be a filing cabinet, but she's at work, business, a business opportunity, maybe. Patience with work, could be a good working relationship. She might be on her way to finding a good partnership, something like that. Let's take a look for this one at the little book. I do have the little book for this, so let's see what they say she's up to. Temperance. Rhythm and flow of the patterns of our lives are important. As we struggle to balance ourselves while trying to be in several different places at once, we must allow ourselves to be where we are needed, to allow the signs to show us where we need to go, and not try to polarize our attentions. I don't know. That was kind of mumbo jumbo to me. Balance, patience, wait, partnerships. And then in the Ghost Hero, we have a ghostly lady with her cups. I don't know. I think when maybe every time I look at these cards, I keep having this inner thing about the Ghost Tarot, but I'm loving them tonight. And I'm going to hang out with these after I'm done doing this video. So we have kind of the similarity there of our water being transferred, that known and unknown. And then in the As Above deck, we have Ostara. So it's like a reemergence, maybe, a renewal, a balance, because we're in between Sabbats. Very cool. I don't know if I would necessarily put Ostara in this section of the tarot. To me, I would have Ostara as like the Fool or at the beginning, but I'm not a published author nor a tarot deck creator, so I think the creator knows what they're doing. Okay. Next, we have the Spicy Devil. Spicy Devil. I always see this as the physical. So I think about Anton LaVey, I think about modern Satanism, and the materialization over the spiritual, embodying and embracing just the physical carnal nature of being alive and being human, and really just having the best experience you can have and indulging. And so having that, using that as my example with this card and how I connect to it, I often have a hard time seeing the negative side of this card when it comes up in readings, and I think that's a disservice probably to people that get readings from me. But I just have such positive opinions about modern Satanism and the good that it's doing as multiple organizations and all that good stuff, that when I see this card, I just think of like confidence, standing up for yourself, being your own god, taking control. But that's not really what this card means. And traditionally, it is almost bondage, black magic being used on you, being too selfish, falling to temptation, which I definitely also see with this, is that with the devil, it could be if you are struggling with addiction of any kind, this card could be coming up to say, you know, you might be playing a dangerous game. You're walking the line and you're getting into the shark infested water here. So with addictions, this card can be quite intense. And I have had that come up in readings, and I've had it come up for people who have had addictions and are recovering from addictions and have been sober for a long time. But it's just saying, like, you kind of always have that monkey on your back. And as someone who has had addictions, I don't feel like a hypocrite saying that. I feel like I can come from a real place in saying that with addiction, it does always kind of stay with you, and it's kind of your little devil on your shoulders. So this is definitely can be an addiction card. We have the As Above, So Below, kind of similar hand symbols, and that always makes me think of Baphomet. If you ever look at Baphomet, their hands are also in a kind of similar position. Just kind of goes with that devil theme. We have the Torch of Destruction in his hand there. And then I looked up what the tales on the man and woman. So they could be Adam and Eve. They could be the figures from the Lovers as well. And it's kind of the females. This is the sin of the misuse. Oh, sorry, over here. The females is the misuse of wine. A crime that I commit maybe all the time. I don't know. I love wine, but misuse of wine, I'll take it. And then for the gentleman over here, it is the misuse of people, or the zodiac sign. So misusing people. I like that us ladies definitely get the better end of that with this misusing of wine. I like to consider that just drinking it and enjoying it, but misuse of wine. So take what you will. I see it as a positive card. I see it as confidence, believing in yourself, being your own god, taking control of your spirituality, and not always relying on some higher power. Sometimes you have to get your hands dirty. Sometimes you have to dig in and do it yourself. And I think the devil can be that kind of motivator as well. Let's see what everybody else has for El Diablo here. So the devil in the Pagan Tarot, we have this lady working on a spell. There's love petals all around her. She's got a book out. She's writing things. I think she's got candles in her apple. What looks like some sweet Adidas sneakers, and a ghost is kind of looking out for her. So is this ghost like tempting her away? Is she not having the confidence to do the spell, or is she not having the focus, so she's constantly being tempted away? Or is she doing a love spell and trying to entrap someone in a relationship with her? What is she up to? Interesting choice for a devil card, because it's so innocent looking, which maybe that makes it even more sinister. And it looks like there's people around her. Interesting interpretation. The Ghost Tarot has a super sexy devil, like totally hot, totally hot. Hello, little sexy ghost devil. Kind of hot little goat man. If you've seen Wine and Witchcraft, you'll know my confessions about the goat man, but very cool. I like it. And then we have Lama Cernulunasa for the devil card in As Above. I would have put this as the devil card because, or not the devil card, sorry, the death card, because of the death associations of the god kind of laying down his life and sacrificing himself for the wheat and the corn at Lunasa. But we have it here as the devil. I don't get it. I don't really get it. I don't associate the abundance of that time with the devil, but if you do, let me know what you think. I don't have the book for that around here, so we can't check with Barbara, but let me know what you think about Lunasa and the devil and what their associations could be. So let's see what the Ghost Tarot has to say about this sexy devil man here. Ooh, deceit of passion. Whew, spicy. Passions reawaken man. Ambition, frenzy, rebellion, desire, they create. But what they create is not destined to endure, unless one succeeds in going beyond them. The fire that burns and the fire that warms are the same fire. I like it. Okay, last but not least, I know this has been a long video. I know. Hang in there, and I appreciate you hanging in there. And for anybody who has still been here this whole time, I love you. Thank you. Sending you love. We are at our last card tonight, the Tower. Another card that scares people. Someone's really scared of their reading. I tell you, it's going to be death or the devil or the Tower. It's going to make an appearance. The tarot loves to make people shake in their boots a little bit. So this card, to me, is someone who's put a lot of work into something in their life. Whether it was a relationship, an investment, project, their house, whatever. And they put the work in, they built the tower, and they built the tower. And they knew going along that things were going to go bad. It was going to go south, but they kept investing. They kept ignoring their intuition. They kept ignoring that spiritual clairvoyance, that spiritual God, goddess, aliens, whatever, trying to get those messages to you. They ignored it. And now everything's gone to shit, right? Everything's falling apart, the tower. And you have choices here. You can stay in the tower, and then you can fall down into the nothingness, the void, or you can leap out of the tower. And the lady who taught me tarot told me these were blessings anytime you saw these. And up here we have no blessings for this peep who just kind of stayed, and looks like they're about to catch on fire maybe, and they're just falling. Where this person's like, peace, I'm out, bye, no more, like peace, I'm leaving. I think they get a nice little cloud and they get nice little blessings. So this could be your kick in the butt that it's time to take action. It's time to make a change. It's time to make it happen. No more sitting around. So everything's coming to a head. Conflict. It is like, get out right now. Destruction can bring change. So we think about the unfortunate wildfires happening right now. After a wildfire, we we understand that the forest kind of regrows and it's brighter and greener and more plants, and sometimes you have to burn things to get more life in fields. So it's kind of like destruction brings change and regrowth. So if you do get it, it's not the end of the world. If you get it at the end of your reading though, that sucks, because it's like everything you're going to do is still not going to work out. Don't waste your time. There's big changes that are destructive that are coming. Change is painful. That's why a lot of people don't succeed in changing, and they don't succeed in changing their situations. And the Tower is here to be like, okay, it's time to seriously make some changes. Change is coming. Don't waste your time. So for the Tower, for the Pagan Tarot, everyone's having a wild orgy, like content warning. Whoa. They're having a spicy time, but she's like not a part of it. So she's left out of the orgy. I don't know. I picked some random decks tonight, guys. So obviously she's feeling left out, and that's the destruction for her. I would feel bad too if I was left out of the orgy. If all my friends were banging each other and they were like, yeah, Tasha, go put on a cloak and stand over there by yourself. Like, I'd be pretty sad too. So I get it. The Ghost Tarot. Beautiful again. Looks like it glows. Cool tower. Super cool. You still have the 2 images coming out of the tower. And then we have Omens for the As Above, which I really, really like. I think that's a cool card. And I think that's a cat, actually. I thought at first it was like a black dog, but I think it might be a cat, which fits as well. Omens for the tower. We are almost at 40 minutes. This is the longest video ever. I'm really sorry. I hope this helps you. I hope out of all of this time we've spent together, you at least got something to chew on, something to think about, play with your deck, and just think about what we talked about and apply it, and you'll be reading tarot in no time. Thank you for watching and hanging out with me, and I hope you have an awesome night. Bye.